Welcome to part 15 on this lecture series on the Second World War. We're now going to talk about Japanese-American internment. Very shortly after the attack on Pearl Harbor, President Roosevelt is going to issue an order called Executive Order 9066. Now, Executive Order 9066 does not set up internment camps. What it does is it takes the west coast of the United States and puts it under a military occupation. It designates it the Western Military Zone, and it's placed under the command of a General DeWitt. General DeWitt now is going to take that authority, and he's going to create the War Relocation Authority out of it, right? He's going to place this under the command of Milton Eisenhower. This is the brother of Dwight David Eisenhower, right? And the War Relocation Authority is going to be the organization that is going to begin the relocation of Japanese Americans on the west coast of the United States. The fear was this, is that Issei and Nisei Japanese, that is first generation born American and immigrants and first generation born, right, Issei and Nisei, are potential fifth columnists, that they have too many close ties back to Japan, their loyalties may lie with them, and therefore they may sabotage military production, help with the potential of attacks on the west coast, and so we need to relocate them, all right? In total, you're going to have 112,000 Japanese Americans, these are American citizens, that are going to be forcibly moved from the west coast to different relocation camps that were set up across as far west as Arkansas, or far east rather as Arkansas, right? Their houses, their businesses, most of the time they had to either attempt to sell them hurriedly at a terribly reduced price or lose them altogether, in which case they would be repossessed and then sold at auction, right? And so you're going to have, it's estimated in today's dollars, somewhere around $60 billion in property that was lost in the process of this. Now, to put this in perspective, the relocation of 112,000 Japanese from the west coast of the United States represented a 100% removal of Japanese Americans from the coast. Okay. In Hawaii, there were 157,000 Japanese Americans living in Hawaii. They only ever removed about 1% of them. These were people who were identified as potential real fifth columnists, right? So what was done here on the West Coast, moving them to internment camps, was probably unjustified. Matter of fact, you're going to see a lot of Japanese Americans that are going to serve. They're only allowed to serve in Europe, but they're going to serve, again, in segregated units that are going to be amongst the most highly decorated units in the war. They're going to serve with great distinction, right? In 1988, President Ronald Reagan is going to sign the Civil Liberties Act. And in the Civil Liberties Act, there was a addendum added to it that provided compensation for over 100,000 Japanese Americans who had been interned during the war, and it granted approximately $20,000 for every surviving victim of this. I mean, in all honesty, we need to take a look at this for what it was. This was the creation of American concentration camps, right? We tend to not want to use that word concentration camp because when it comes to World War II and concentration camp, we have a tendency to focus on the death facilities in Germany, right? The Germans created concentration camps and labor camps and then eventually death facilities for the whole-out extermination of Jews. Well, if we call these concentration camps, we have a tendency to try and look at it in the same light. But it is what it is. This is a place where we gathered up a group of American citizens based on their ethnicity and concentrated them into an area, right? It's a concentration camp.